Hello and welcome back to math class for this week. Today is going to be the last day that I'm going to give you a video on long division with decimals. So I promise, well, I can't promise, but we'll try and move on to some other things for next week. So we kind of jumped around a little bit. Thank you to those of you that actually shared your lesson 13 problem set with me, sent pictures, did whatever you could to get it to me. That's awesome. You guys are doing a great job. So we're going to go on with lesson 14, which is some more dividing. And as you noticed yesterday at the end of the lesson, I wanted to do one decimal division problem with you. So we're going to go ahead and turn over in lesson 14 to page S56. All right, and we're just going to jump right on into our problems. We're going to do a lot of these together. A lot of division problems are actually story problems. Okay, and I know some of you are kind of frowning, story problems. But if you notice, this first one's kind of short. It says a plane travels 3,625 and 26 miles in 6 9/10 hours. What is the plane's unit rate? Well, we're eventually going to get to this word unit rate. And whenever you see the word unit rate, you want to think of 1 per 1. So we want to think of like per 1 hour. So this is going to be a division problem. So we're going to set up our division problem. We'll go ahead and let's set it. I'm going to set it up over here because I want to make sure I have plenty of room to work. We're going to take our miles. And we're going to divide it by our hours. So if you could go ahead and write that down for me. Okay, like I said, the first one I'm going to go ahead and do for you. Now, if you recall, the thing I told you yesterday when we divide with decimals, the number one thing is we need to move that decimal. So I'm going to kind of use a little red here so you guys can notice. I want to get rid of the decimal here in the divisor. Well, I'm going to have to move it here to the end to make this not 6 9/10, but just the number 69. So we're going to go ahead and move this over here. Well, the rule is whenever you move the decimal here in the divisor, you have to move it in the dividend. So we're going to go ahead and move it the same amount of places, one place, and then we go ahead and we take it and we put it straight up here, lining up so we're done with the decimal. We will not touch the decimal again. All right, so if you look at here, we obviously know from doing our division that 69 cannot go into a number that's smaller, for example, 3, and it cannot go into 36. So now I have to take 69 and I have to take it into 3,625. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I sometimes do is I will round this to 70, and then I kind of think of how many times, for example, 70 might go into 36, which would probably be 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, because 7 times 5 is 35. So let's just come over here and let's multiply 69 times 5, and let's see what happens. Please go ahead and write this multiplication problem right over here for me. All right, so we notice this is going to work. So we're going to go ahead and come over here and we're going to put 5 up here on the top. We're going to put our 345, make sure to line everything up. We're going to subtract. While you are working on subtracting, make sure your answer here is going to be smaller than our divisor. Some of us know you cannot do 2 minus 5, so we're going to borrow. So I have the answer 17. 17 is smaller than this, so we're doing great. Let's bring down our 5. Let's see. Do you think it goes in there twice? I know it goes once, but let's go ahead and just put right over here 69, and let's multiply it twice. So go ahead and write that multiplication problem down. And it looks like it does work. So we're going to go ahead and put a 2 up here above the 5, 138, and we're going to subtract. Have to borrow. All right, so you will notice that we have the answer 37, and it is smaller than this, which is great. Well, now we're going to bring down our 2. Obviously, it's going to be more than 2 times. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Look at this. We already did this multiplying by 5, and that worked. So let's put 5 here again. 345, and we're going to subtract 7, and I have 27. Looks good so far. We're going to bring down our very last number. 276. Well, it's going to go more than 2 times according to this, but less than 5. Should we multiply by 3 or 4? Well, let's go and let's try the bigger number first. Let's go ahead and multiply by 4. So go ahead and multiply, write that on your paper, and multiply by 4 for me. Look at that. Exact answer. We hit the jackpot here. So remember, the 4 is going to have to go after the decimal because we want to keep everything lined up. And look at this. We found out that the plane's unit rate is 525 and 4/10. 4/10. A plane travels that far. What is the plane's unit rate? 525 and 4/10 miles. And we would say per hour. And we're going to get to unit rate a little bit later on in our math class. Good job. All right, so let's go ahead and move down to problem number 1. If you notice, this time we're going to be estimating. We practiced estimating a little bit earlier this week. Estimate the quotient first. Daryl spent $4.68 on each pound of trail mix. He spent a total of $14.04. How many pounds of trail mix did he purchase? Well, we know that it's this on each, so he spends $4.68 on 1 pound. Well, if I estimate this to me, $14.04, that's pretty close to $15. So I'm going to say $15. And if I would estimate, this would be real close to 5. So I'm going to say $15 divided by 5. And since we all know that one in our head, we're going to estimate that it's going to cost about $3. All right. Well, now we're going to actually solve the problem over here. So we're going to set up our division problem. We're going to put in our dividend. And then we're going to put in our divisor. Okay, remember when dividing with decimals, rule number 1 is to move our decimal. We notice here we're going to move it 2 times, and we move it 2 times. Bring it straight up. The decimal is going to be at the end of our answer unless we have to go farther on. 460, wow, that won't go into 1. It can't go into 14, and it can't go into 140, so we're going to have to do the whole number 1,000. Well, let's just try our estimation. Let's see what happens. Let's take 468 and let's multiply it times 3 and see what happens. So go ahead and multiply those numbers. 8 times 3 is 24. 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 2 is 20. Oh, look at this. 4 times 3 is 12 plus 2 more. Perfect. Look at our estimation was exactly the same answer. So how many pounds of trail mix did he purchase? He purchased 3 pounds. Okay, very good. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and, like I said, we're not going to be doing all of these problems. So let's go ahead and flip our book over to page S57. S57. All right, so let's go ahead and look at problem number 3 up here. Jared is making candles from beeswax. He has 132 and 72 ounces of beeswax. If each candle has 8 4/10 ounces of beeswax, how many candles can he make? Will there be any wax left over? All right, well, let's go ahead and see our problem. So we know that he has this much, so we're going to set up our division problem. All right, that goes right there. And then we're going to put our divisor here in the front. Okay, rule number 1, what do? We have to move our decimal. So we're going to move our decimal here 1 time, and we're going to move our decimal here 1 time. We're going to carry it all the way up like this, and we're going to start dividing. 84 does not go into 1. 84 cannot go into 13. 84 does go into this, but do you think it's 1 or 2 times? Well, if I think about 80 and 80, 80 plus 80 is 160, so that's already over that, so it can't go 2 times. So we're going to put up here 1, put an 84. Make sure you line up your 84 underneath the 132 correctly. Look carefully. 2 minus 4 we can't do. Borrow. 12 minus 4, I'm going to tell you in case you don't know, is 8. 2 minus 8 we can't do, so we'll borrow here and do 12 minus 8, which is a 4. Okay, good. Looks good so far. All right, let's pull down the 7. 84. Well, 84 is very close to 100, so let's see, 84 4 times what that would be. So we're going to multiply, put a 4 here. 16 33. Ooh, that's not very close. So what we're going to do is we're going to try times 5. So sometimes we have to do a couple trial and errors. 370. Oh, so that is a lot closer. Wait a minute here. 8 times 5. What is 8 times 5? 8 times 5 is 40. Plus 2 should be 42. Did you guys get that? So we're going to put this as 42. We're going to carry this over. And we're going to subtract. So go ahead and subtract, and let's see what you get. Good thing it doesn't look like doing any borrowing. Pull down one more number. All right, 675. Wow. Oh, well, let's see. What should we multiply by? 600? Well, look, here's the number 80. I like to look at the first digit here, 8, and the first 2 digits. How many times will 8 go into 67? Well, if I think about it, 8 times 8 is 64. So let's just try it. Let's do 84 times 8. Can you solve that multiplication problem for me while I solve it? If you need to look up here on the camera, you can. All right. Let's see here. Wait, look what happened. It's not going to match. What did I do wrong? Well, did anybody notice at the very beginning the mistake that we made? The mistake that we made is we wrote the wrong dividend. We got the wrong dividend. Some of you might have noticed it right away. Some of you did not. So sometimes we need to check to see, did I do everything correctly? This should have been a 2. And if I bring it down as a 2, now I have the exact answer. So sometimes we have to be very careful and look to see if we wrote the numbers correctly. If we get in a hurry, sometimes that's where we make mistakes. All right, well, so let's go back. Oh, Mrs. Huck's making all kinds of mistakes. I forgot to put my 5 up there. Good thing you guys can't yell at me here on this video, right? All right, so the question is, if each candle uses 8 and 4 ounces of beeswax, how many candles can he make? Will there be any wax left over? Well, you can't really make 15 and 8/10 candles. You can't make a portion of a candle. So the answer would be that Jared can make 15 candles. So how many candles? 15 candles. And then if you notice, the answer says, will there be any wax left over? Well, yes, there is. There's 8/10. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to set you up here on problem number 4. Hopefully I can get, and I want you to go ahead and solve it. So you're going to pause your video. There are 20 and 5/10 cups of batter in the bowl. If each cupcake uses 4/10 cups of batter, how many cupcakes can be made? So we're going to take this batter and we're going to divide it by 4/10. So I'm going to set up my division problem right here. Let's make sure we slow down and write everything correctly. And right here. Okay, step number 1. Step number 1 is we're going to move our decimal once, carry it straight up. All right, so now you're basically looking at the number 4 going into these. Go ahead and solve your problem. All right, so if you're still working on your problem, keep your video paused. If you are finished, you can go ahead and continue watching. 4 does not go into 2. 4 does go into 25 times. Bring down my 5. 4 goes into 5 one time. Oh, is this what you guys got? This is what I've got. Now, if I notice, I don't have any other numbers to bring down, do I? Is this, you might have stopped. Well, we can't really put a remainder because we're doing decimals. So what we do is we add a 0 and we bring that down. How many times does 4 go into 10? 2 times. All right, 4 times 2 is 8. So 10 minus 8 is 2. Oh, I still have another number. Well, I'll put another 0. Now I have 20. Oh, 4 goes into 20 evenly. It goes 5 times. All right, so you will notice that on this problem, we did a decimal, and the problem did not end. It kept going. And when that happens, we're going to add zeros and bring them down. Now, sometimes the problem will keep going and going and going and going and going. And if that happens, the teacher will instruct you and say, I want your quotient or your answer to be rounded to the nearest, and we might say the 100th spot or the 10th spot. Okay? All right, well, let's do one more practice together. Go ahead and turn your book. And I'm going to ask you to do problem number 6. Problem number 6 only. We've got this whole page to do it. So we're going to put a big division problem like this. We're going to write 159 and 12 hundredths. And we're going to write over here 6 and 8 tenths. Make sure that we did it correctly. Remember, step number 1 is to move our decimal once. Our decimal once. Bring it straight up like this. Now, if you're going to start counting by 68ths over here, you can. If you're going to do the guess and check and multiply, you can do that over here. So go ahead and pause your video and see if you can solve this. Turn your video back on when you're ready. All right, so here we go. 68 does not go into 1. It does not go into 15. It does go into 159, and it goes into there 2 times. If you did 68 over here times 2, you found out that that was 136, like this. Now, if you're writing quickly now, that means you did not pause your video to do this. 9 minus 6 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. We're going to bring down our 1. 68 goes into 231. If you solved it, it was 3 times. How did I know that? Because 68 times 3. If I do this, it's 204. And I'm going to have to borrow here. Hopefully you saw that. 11 minus 4 is 7. And I have the number 27. Pull down my 2 here. Now remember, we're on the 2, so we're going to be after the decimal. 68, well, hopefully some of you found out that 68 goes evenly, actually, 4 times. For exactly 272. Okay? Long division problems take a long time. Long division problems do lots of skills, multiplying, subtracting, dividing. The number one thing that you have to do, and we proved in the video, is you have to make sure, first of all, you copy the problem down correctly. You have to make sure that you've multiplied, subtracted correctly. All right, so for today, what I would like for you guys to do is I would like for you on this page right here, okay, this is the problem set, is I would like for you to go ahead and attempt both problems. You have lots of room here to write. If you are stuck and need some assistance, reach out to your teacher and they can help you get started. All right, well, like I said, I will not have another video for the rest of the week, so I look forward to seeing you all and talking to you next week.